Hi guys, Asif Sheikh here. Thank you so much for joining this video. Today I'm going to be talking about controlling your emotions during an interview. So I'm going to give you tips on what to say and what not to say during the interview, which is related to your emotions. I mean, you need to control your emotions, my friends. Okay, so before I start, I've made this flowchart for you on the laptop. I would be discussing these pointers one-on-one. Before I get to this, I would like to convey a small story to each one of you. Stories are always interesting. So just before the Corona phase came in, we were hiring for a client back in Dubai. We were helping them for recruiting manpower for their 5-star property, wherein the client was very adamant on only recruiting Filipinos. And I always go outside and promote people from India. I always encourage clients to hire people from India, from my country. But the client was emphasizing a lot on only hiring people from Philippines. And I'm sure if you guys must have been to Dubai right now, recently you'll see a lot of Filipinos, right from the hotels to you go to any office, you go to the reception, you go to restaurants, you'll see a lot of Filipinos. If you see almost 10 years back, you would only see Indians there, but now it's been taken over by Filipinos. The reason for that is because that's what the clients say. And that's what even I have observed, that they are very positive. They treat everybody equally. They are very energetic. They are very professional when it comes to their work. And the client also emphasized on these people do not give them a lot of jazz, not a lot of emotional jazz during interviews. I did not take this feedback. We have to be open for feedback, from every client. I did not take that feedback in a way of working on it and ensuring that the client would not be facing these challenges if they recruit people from India. On the places that we suggest. But cutting this long story short, why does this happen? I've seen in my 15 years, I've seen that, a lot of people get emotional during interviews, thinking that if they're going to be giving emotional answers, they would be able to win the interviewer's heart by, they would probably gain sympathy. Sympathy and, all these things are not the right ways of cracking an interview, my friend. It is always on your abilities that you need to crack the interviews, not on sympathy. So coming to these pointers, control your emotions during interview. So I will first talk about the don'ts, the things that you don't need to do when you're giving an interview. The first pointer is not to be a stereotype as soon as you start. So I've observed a lot of people, when they appear for interview and before they're like, sir, before I start off with the interview, I would like to convey something that, I'm in really deep need of this job and I really require this job. I hope you consider my profile. My friend, you've not even started giving the interview. You need to first go ahead, introduce yourself in a formal way, talk about your abilities. You've seen the job, you know what the recruitment is going on for. Nobody is just going to hire you because you're going through some emotional issues or probably you are not financially capable right now. You need to sell yourself, like I said, on the capabilities. There's a particular job role that every organization hires for on the basis of the JD, the job descriptions that they release. If you've come for that particular job, sell yourself for that particular job rather than starting off with the emotional stuff of how badly you need yourself. This leads to overselling, and my friends, always remember, overselling is bad. The second point is more problems you show, the more unstable you come across. I'll give you an example over here also. We see a lot of candidates coming across and giving interviews stating that, I really need this job because my father is not feeling well, my mother's not well, they've not been well for the last 2 years, 3 years. My friends, this is not going to get you a job. The interviewers are businessmen. They are very smart people. The moment you say this point, what comes to their mind is, okay, so if your family, God forbid, anyone at your place faces any kind of health issues, then who's going to be taking care of them? And at that point of time, immediately if you speak about, you need to be present there when they're not around, they will take your profile as an unstable profile. They will be like, okay, fine. So if God forbid, if your father falls sick again or he gets unwell again, who's going to be taking care of him? And the moment you say, yes, I would need to be around at that time, the client already knows. He will give you all the sympathy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear about your father. Don't let this make you get happy about yourself that yes, the client is trying to buy what you say. The employer is trying to buy what you say. No, this is leading to further rejection. He's going to keep your profile as the last option, even if you're capable. Because he knows that if anything goes wrong back at home, you're going to be ending up taking leaves. And that is not going to be acceptable to any organization, especially in a probation period. The initial probation period, as per organizations, 3 months or 6 months, you guys are not allowed to take any leaves at that point of time. Coming to the second point, No justification on lack of skills. Sometimes, when clients ask you whether if you are aware of basic skills, basic computer soft skills, for example, are you excellent with Excel? Are you aware of Excel formulas? I'm just giving you an example, a rough example. And you end up saying, yes, I know Excel, but formulas, no, I've never used this in the past. No organization has asked me to use this. No, you don't need to come up with this. You don't need to make the employer uncomfortable stating that, no employer has asked me this question again. Okay, we all need to progress. The technology is going crazy day by day. It's going to be a crazy inclination towards technology. So knowing formulas in Excel is no technology that the employer is speaking about. It's always an additional skill. If the answer to that would be, yes, I'm aware of Excel, and I would definitely go ahead and learn the formulas as well, and I ensure you that I will be quick and fast and I'll learn all the basic formulas before I even get to the job. That's the selling point, my friend. That's what shows positive attitude. Rather than telling the employer, nobody's asked me on the formulas before, it is always better you would say that you will work on it, you will learn the same, and the employer will not have any complaints because you're going to be working towards it. The next point is playing the victim, center stage. You always want to be in the center stage of playing the victim. You are the magnet of all the problems. Okay, God has targeted you. Everybody else is, God has given everybody else peace, but you are the victim. God has only pinpointed on you. He has no other work, and that doesn't work. If you're going to be victimizing yourself, it's giving reasons. You are responsible for where you are. There is a reason where I encourage a lot of people to not go ahead and, give the young beggars any kind of money on the road, is because they're capable. They have 2 hands, they have 2 legs, they can work in a restaurant, they can go wash cars, they can do whatever. You can definitely go ahead and, give some charity to the people who are disabled, people who are old, because it's understood. But if you have 2 functioning hands, you have 2 functioning legs, God has been really kind to you already. Talking about the next point, this time everybody needs positivity. So this is a time where all the employers are bleeding anyways. They are all bad with their revenues. They are all bad in their businesses. They are not in a good state themselves. And at this point of time, if they want to hire somebody, they need that positivity, my friends. They don't need another negative person who's going to take them down the drain of, getting more emotionally broken down after listening to your problems as well. So please avoid all the emotional problems there and, stick to positivity. Clients need, employers also need positivity. We are also humans. We also, when we go ahead and we recruit people, we need to recruit positive people where we can also come to office and look forward to a positive attitude and positive people in office. There is a new parameter altogether, which is something that we also consult our clients. It's called emotional intelligence. A lot of clients now are recruiting on emotional intelligence. What does this cover? This covers how positive a candidate is, how good is the candidate in terms of accepting feedback, how is the candidate in terms of his reactions, his spontaneity, how is the candidate in terms of his patience. So, sometimes a client might just play this patience game with you and ask you this question. So, could you tell me about your job profile? What were you doing in this company? You've given an elaborated answer. He will ask you another question and jump back to the question. So, tell me about this organization again. What did you do there? And at this point of time, if a candidate reacts and says, I've already conveyed this to you, that's not the reaction that you're expecting. You can obviously be positive. Go ahead and say that, though I've already covered this, but I really would like to explain myself again because might be I was not clear. And then you can start off, talking about your job profile. You cannot be like, okay, I told you this before. Why are you asking me this again? And this happens. Some guys don't believe it. Very good. If you don't believe it, you're on the right track. And some guys who are able to connect with me, then you know what I'm talking about. Do not talk about arguments. Do not talk about fights. A lot of people, when they give their final round of interviews, sometimes the stakeholder or an operations manager who's conducting the final round always asks you that, did you have any kind of arguments or fights or, non-acceptance, not being on the same platform with your seniors in terms of decision making? Have these situations ever come? then the candidate is like, sometimes, the answers that we get is surprising. Yes, there was my team leader before or my manager before who gave me this feedback and I really did not accept this and I gave it back to him. Do you think this is going to, convey a very positive thing about you? If you're going to speak about you disagreeing to your manager or you fought back with your manager because you thought he was not right. See, I'm not saying that managers and team leaders are always right, correct? But you're giving an interview. Do you think during the interview, you want to talk about that phase where you had a fight or you just want to avoid it and leave that over? Nobody is perfect. No human is perfect. I'm not saying all team leaders and all operation managers and all stakeholders and all employees are right. But do you want to give this example? Do you want to give this example and prove yourself right in front of this employer? No, right? You need to give better examples. You need to speak about more of teamwork. You need to speak about how you took the feedback positively from your senior and how did you work on that and implemented all the feedback provided to you and how did you come to a solution, right? So this is very important, my friends. Keep this in mind. You cannot talk about fights and grudges that you've had in the past. Don't be pushy for the feedback or the results. The moment you're done with the interview, if somebody tells you we'll get back to you with the feedback or get back to you with the results, don't say that, we've heard sometimes, so no, I need to know the feedback now because I have some interviews aligned. If you have a lot of options, my friends, even the employers today have a lot of options. Do not create these blunders. This comes across as very negative attitude. Do not create these blunders at all. And the last point is, this is not a Bollywood movie. Okay, so do not pick up anything from the Bollywood movies and come up and try using that during the interview. That works very well in the movies. It will not work well during interviews, my friends. So please keep this in mind. Do not get influenced by any movie and go ahead and give a very cinematic, dramatic situation wherein again you are acting as the center stage of problems. Do not do that. It's not a Bollywood movie. Be realistic. Give the interview on the basis of your abilities. Now I will come to the do's. Okay, what you need to be conveying during the interview, rather than, yes, you can you can talk about some emotional situations, but when you talk about these emotional situations, how do you convey this? How do you deal with these challenges? So if you faced any personal challenge in the past, you don't have to stop at that. You need to speak about how did you deal with that challenge? How did you overcome that challenge? Because that is what is going to impress the employer. Because if in your personal life, you are able to manage your own personal problems, you are definitely capable of managing work as well. How you fought back in life with your previous employment challenges. Okay, employment challenges, not fighting with the employers, but challenges during your employment. How did you fight back, take the feedback? Fight back is the wrong word, sorry. How did you accept those challenges, work on those challenges? How did you implement the changes and prove to be a better employee? So this is what you guys need to focus on. Are you a fighter or do you give up very easily? Okay, so when you talk about some challenging situations, let that be personal or professional life, have you been a fighter or have you given up? Obvious answer should be how you fought and how you've been able to recover. That's very important, my friends. Speak about your strengths. Sometimes you are asked this very common question during interviews: what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Strengths, everybody is able to elaborate on their strengths, but in weakness, sometimes people say, I'm very short-tempered. Short-tempered, okay. So are you trying to scare the employer to hire you? I'm very short-tempered, okay. You please take care of this, it's my weakness. Nobody's going to accept this weakness. Weakness can be very simple. You can speak about your weaknesses in terms of, I trust people very easily. It's not going to cause any harm to the employer. If you're trusting people very easily, that comes across as a good point also, and you're learning from life. You're learning how to trust the right people. You cannot get back stating that, you're very short-tempered. You are very, you're not an extrovert, you're an introvert, you don't like working with a team. These are not the weaknesses that you would like to convey. In your weaknesses also, you need to convey your strengths. I am talking about interviews here, my friend. So please be very focused. All this is from an interview prospect. Right now, it's a challenging situation. A lot of people are looking at positivity. You need to come across as a positive person, as a positive personality. Next point. If you're not aware of a particular skill, showcase yourself as a quick learner. So if the employer asks you whether if you're aware of an XYZ skill, and if you're not aware of it, don't say that, I've covered this in the don'ts as well. Don't say that, I don't know this, I don't intend to learn this. Go ahead and tell them I'm a quick learner. Give them examples of your personal life, how you've learned something in your personal life quickly, how you've learned something quickly in your professional life before, and how did you implement that in your personal life and your professional life towards, and how did you adapt with that skill and you mastered the skill. That's what you need to speak about. If you're not aware of a skill, I mean, you're not 90 years old, right? There's so much time to learn. There's learning every day. I've been doing this for 15 years. Every day today when I sit for interviews, I learn new things. I still learn new things. I still am open for feedback. I have an employee who's 18 years old in my office. I am so amazed with the kind of concepts that he comes up with, related to the digital platform, the ideas that he comes up with. I don't take it personally that, this guy has joined me with no experience at all. I cannot take his feedback. I really appreciate. I go ahead and tell him I need to have more ideas from you. Whenever he gives an idea, I take him in front of the entire team and get the efforts applauded by the entire team, stating that, this gentleman came in, given this suggestion, and we are implementing this in our operations. So everybody is learning. You cannot let it be an 18-year-old, let it be a 70-year-old. Always keep your ears open and always learn, my friends. Don't think that you're always right. And the last thing is, show that you are a team player. This is very important. When you're going to be showing that you're a team player, you're good with working with a team, the employer definitely will be more confident in hiring you, because somewhere down the line, you're teaming up with the employer to go ahead and work for the particular organization as a team, to work towards the progress of the organization as a team. So very important pointers, my friends, which is used across the HR rounds of interviews and to be used during the final rounds of interviews as well. That's your operations, or if you're getting interviewed by the director, by the CEO, by the owner. Use these pointers, my friends. Use these pointers. Control your emotions. Don't talk about the bad things. It's an interview. Be careful of the strengths that you're conveying. Be careful of the weaknesses that you're conveying. I hope this has brought in some value to each one of you, and I hope you guys abide to this. I have trained people for their rounds of interview in this way, and I have had people impressing the interviewers to another level altogether if they followed this pattern. This is very important information, my friends. It comes with a lot of time. I'm sharing this across the table with you. Please abide with this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for sticking on till the end, and I will catch you guys soon again. Thank you so much. Take care of yourselves. Guys, this will be the first video I would be putting up on my YouTube channel. So kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be mentioning the link in the description. I would expect the same support that you've given me till now. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward for your support, for me to spread my message and educate as many job seekers as possible. Thanks once again. Take care.